Hey, all guys and gals and everybody in between. What's happening? I got an amazing, I'm going to say it's amazing, video coming up for you for meditation, manifestation, this kind of thing. All me, basically, of course, ideas from other great teachers. And it's uploading, man, really slowly. Last time I looked, it's at 67%. I'm not sure why. Last night I uploaded something else, and it went a lot faster. And I mean, it was a race, and it beat this one. It was longer, like an hour or something, and it beat this one. This one's going slow. Not really sure why. I'm putting the music on. So today I'm going to talk about branding in business, just something different to talk about. Kind of tired of talking about meditation at the minute. I'm in that business of advertising, branding, marketing. And I just figured I'd go through this thing from the Wizard of Ads and talk about that for something different to do. See if I can get it up and see, just to kind of test and see if it beats out the one that's going really slowly. And that's the one I worked hard on. This one's going to be just whatever, what do you call it, train of thought, me flapping, me reading, I don't know if you've heard me do that kind of stuff, but I do it. I've only done it generally for Neville stuff so far on this channel. And I don't know if this classical music is gonna aggravate or innovate, but I put on my classical music on this little tiny speaker, and it was the chords were all tied up in knots, man. And I thought maybe I could relate that to life in general. Sometimes we're tied up in knots, and these wires were tied up in knots. And so I couldn't get my little speaker here onto the desk, just for something to do. I need more control over my background sounds, right? As you heard at the beginning of this thing, if you stuck around, there was some outside noise, I just asked the guys over here, they're workers of my wife, and they were sitting there talking. I was like, I gotta do a recording, guys. So they went off to the shed or whatever. And sometimes we're all tied up in knots, right? So you got to be innovative. I was untying the speaker with one hand, and I have one hand, right? I only have two hands, and I needed three hands, so I used my foot. My foot just happened to have a sock on it, right? So I'm using my foot to kind of lift up the one cord, and I can tuck the other cord under and kind of make the whole process run quickly and easy without asking for help or looking for a third hand. And I want to give that to some of my people out there, give that advice that you can figure it out for yourself. I don't have all the answers. Of course, maybe being more experienced or older than some of you guys, I could give you some answers. But if I keep getting the same question over and over, it tends to get aggravating. Especially when Neville said to figure it out for yourself, and I say figure it out for yourself. Just do what feels right, and then I get the same question over and over. It's just it's almost like trolling or something, because I care, but it's annoying to continue to care and continue to answer the same question over and over. That's not really what I'm looking for. So I'm talking about breathing technique, people. This breathing technique, I'm going to just take the thing down. If it's going to be like that, I got to take it down and take down the offer of a free training or free cheat sheet. I'm not an expert in that breathing technique. I've done it, and it's worked for me. And I don't see anything amazing with it or anything like that. I haven't. I felt stuff. Yeah, I guess it's amazing, but it's no more amazing than many other techniques from Neville or other teachers, I suppose. Neville stuff is, well, I have to say Neville stuff. I don't know if it took me farther than I was, but it kind of helped me define what I was already doing, if you see what I'm saying. Because I was getting this stuff before, but I hadn't read anyone describing it. I was getting these shivers, these body contractions, and I hadn't heard anyone really describe it. Neville kind of described it in terms of what does he say? Psychic blah 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 thrill. I got my hang-ups, psychic thrill, and I don't know. He used some other words to talk about it. So what I want to say is, man, figure it out, dude. Figure it out. You just try and make it easy. If you try, if it don't work, come back to it if you want. If it maybe it's just not for you, You try to do what you feel is right for you, and it should be easy. Life should be easy. Don't get in your own way. Step out of your own way, and if something's coming at you, you step aside from that too. If something negative is coming at you, I wrote something about this before. It's like a hammer, a psychic hammer coming at you. You don't have to fight that hammer. You can step aside and let that hammer pass. And it's the same thing from the inside out. If you got something inside of you that's stopping you from doing what you feel you need to do or what you want to do, take a breath. You got a ball in your hand, right? The ball is inside you, inside your soul, your body. You drop that ball, boom. The ball is the resistance. You're having a hard time picking it up. Drop the ball, boom, inside of you. Just relax inside. The ball is inside you. Drop it, boom. It lifts back up. It bubbles back up. The resistance is gone. Now, no one taught me this when I was younger. No one really taught me this at all. I guess all they said was lower your resistance, or something like that. I've heard that, but I haven't. No one ever really said how. I guess maybe they said let go. So I visualize it as that, as the ball. You're holding a basketball. Oh, you can't. You're not doing good throwing it or whatever. It's heavy. It's heavy. Drop it in. All of a sudden, it'll bubble back up, and then the stuff comes easy. The stuff comes easy. I was going to talk about the branding. This is already 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Okay, I'm going to read a little bit about branding. What the secret to advertising success? How much of your advertising is working? What is branding really? If your goal is to brand your product, you'll need a memorable message and a sufficient weekly frequency. Do you have them? Branding is accomplished only when you have a salient message that is repeated with enough frequency to become securely stored in the hard drive of the brain. People say the word branding as though it's a mysterious and complex proposition. But when you peel off all the layers of hype, it comes down to this. If advertising is getting your name out, then branding is simply attaching something to your name. And this is what I was talking about the other day. Attaching something to something. Attaching something enjoyable into something, attach it to something that's already a chore. You have something that's a chore, attach something enjoyable to it somehow. A simple way to do this is say you're working and you got your headphones on, right, and you got your music. That's one simple way of branding. I'm talking about yard work, right? Generally, yard work, maintenance man work. I used to be a maintenance man, and I had my headphones on, and then I'd be drumming with the palm fronds on the garbage cans. And then the boss would come, and my dad was driving with the boss, and that's another story. But my dad reminded me of that many times, that he was very embarrassed. A brand is simply the sum total of all mental associations, good and bad, that are triggered by a name. So branding is what people think of when they think of you, right? Let me know what you think my branding is. I'm curious. I'm not working that hard at it. I'm just being myself, right? Being myself is a brand. Let me know what you think of that in the comments. Tell me what you think of my branding in the comments, and I'd appreciate that. What does your name stand for in the mind of the public? What are the associations triggered by? Rick's meditation classes. The simple truth is that the advertiser's message itself is far more important than the vehicle of its delivery. Successful branding depends upon your ability to speak to the customer in the language of the customer, about what matters to the customer. The goal of branding is simply to be the name that the customer thinks of immediately and feels best about whenever they or anyone they know needs what you sell. Branding is about the message. Okay, branding is not a new thing, It's a new term for an old thing, but have you ever heard of the story of Pavlov's dog, Ivan Pavlov? He won a Nobel Prize for his research into branding in 1904. Remember the story, Pavlov's dog. Day after day, Pavlov would ring a bell as he rubbed meat paste onto the tongue of a dog. This was branding, you see. He would ring the bell while he rubbed the meat paste, like potted meat, Spam. Potted meat food product onto the tongue of a dog. Corned beef spread. What do you call that stuff? Underwood deviled ham. Boy, I haven't had that in a long time. I used to kind of like it. I think I just liked the little devil on the can when I was a kid. The stuff itself is okay, but it's not really as good as tuna. That's branding, right? Underwood deviled ham. What do you think of that? You think of that devil. And how good that stuff tastes, even though it's not that great. Like salty meat. Okay, so ring a bell as he rubbed. The dog soon began to associate the taste of the meat with the sound of the bell, until the saliva would become worked up in the dog's mouth. The dog would begin to drool. Saliva would come out of the dog's mouth because of the bell. Only because of the bell. So the dog senses were branded from the bell was branded to the taste of the meat, and that's what the dog realized. You hear the bell, think of the meat, start to become hungry. And the salivation became the dog's conditioned response. Ooh, man, I just drank a Coke. And ate crackers. In psychological terms, this is known as the implantation of an associative memory. In other words, branding in all its glory. Psychologically branding is to implant an associative memory in combination with a recall cue. What is an associative memory? This is what I'm talking about, a memory. An associative memory is a memory which has become linked to another memory, right? So that's what I'm saying about your meditation. If you can't do it, if you can't do your manifestation, your, what do you call it? Your postulation, your thinking, your looking, your searching, and your ease. All this practice you want to do to get that money and make your life the way you want it to be, and then add some ice cream, then you'll be thinking, ice cream, I get to do my stuff with ice cream. And don't just let the ice cream have its way, Continue to do your work. So it's work, play, work, and ice cream mixed combination. That's an associative memory. Meditate and take a bite of ice cream, and then meditate and say, by the time I'm done with my meditation here, that ice cream will be all melty in the bowl. And I can almost drink it, or I can't drink it. And then there'll be a little bit of, left over. Boy, I haven't had ice cream in a long time. I must love ice cream. I think most people do, right? My buddy once said, even cheap ice cream is good. And he was right. Even the cheap ice cream is still good ice cream. Oh, my wife is here knocking on the door. Excuse me.